researcher or a medical writer you can work, who primarily employs you. And then at the end we will also talk around what are the resource material, after today's webinar. If you want to explore little more on yourself, right, by your own, then where you can reach out, and the conclusion. So if we really want to understand what are the clinical trials are, yeah, so clinical trials are nothing, they are the scientific experiment. And to bring new drugs in the market, clinical trials are the only way out. There's no other way out to find a new treatment, new drug, or a new vaccine. But why so much of attention is given to clinical trial is there are reasons, right? Why it involves human participant. When human participants are involved, attention and scrutiny is very high, because in case something went wrong, you are dealing with the human life. And clinical trials are performed under controlled conditions. And we need a data which is quantifiable for a specific aspect of the treatment. What does this mean? This means if you want to say that this new vaccine or drug is effective, then you have to tell them by how much percent. Is it percent by 50% or 70%? At which significant level? Is it significantly effective or not? So you need a quantification of in terms of data. And clinical trials are the only way for the fastest and the safest way to find a new treatment that work in people. So it is almost similar to what you do in your lab. These are scientific experiments. That is a fundamental of a clinical trials. Now, if I wanted to tell you every day, we take tablets, we take capsules, we take injections, we take treatment, our family members undergo surgeries, right? We also sometimes take few diagnostic tests. Have you ever imagined like how they have reached to you? To you is basically they are available in the market. And if something is available in the market, and we need to understand the history of it. And as I said in my previous slide, like, they are scientific experiments. And when you are in your graduation or maybe in the post-graduation, you must have done few lab experiments. So journey for clinical trials or medicine or diagnosis, begins at lab. So its journey from lab to market is someone want to say something? Okay. So its journey from lab to market is, I'll tell you, is very expensive. One. And second is time consuming. And it takes lot of effort. Now we will talk around why it is expensive, why it takes so much of time, why it is effort taking. And this is also one of the reasons, entry to clinical research. If you want to make a career in a clinical research, entry to clinical research is little difficult. I won't say that completely difficult, is little difficult, because the sponsors who are hiring, the organization those are hiring professionals, they really want they to be skillful, because they are dealing something which is very expensive, very time consuming, and regulatory is watching them, and it is taking them a lot of time. Now I will break down the steps of the drug discovery in a very brief, like how you decide, how a journey of new drug comes into a picture, right? So what the scientists do is that they decide, like, okay, this is the disease we want to work in. That may be because of that organization's strength. Say few organizations, they are very good to find some treatment or drugs for oncology. Few institute, they are good with infectious disease, because that is their capability, that is their strength, right? And few may be dealing with the metabolic disease. So some, they are just dedicated to women's health, right? And sometimes they choose disease as per their strength, but sometimes it is the need of our, like your COVID studies, then there was a lot of pressure from government bodies also, and from healthcare institute also, like this is our priority. That also depends on the demand, what is the need of our hour. So accordingly the scientists choose the disease on which they want to work. Now then after this, their discovery testing starts, like they does it work, they test in animal, how long or short acting your PKPD, how does it work, mechanism of action. They also decide, like, okay, which is the route they can try, shall they be giving orally or intramuscular, whatever the route can be. I am telling you in very brief. So then they start screening out the many molecules in lab, like, okay, this may work on this disease, this might work, or that might not work. So accordingly they start with the, this first phase is a discovery testing within a lab only. There may be like thousands of molecule, 10,000s of molecule they can work with. So once they screened out few molecules, like out of 10,000 maybe 2,000 or maybe 5,000, they also see if the molecule is promising, right, it seems good. Then they also try to understand, like, is this large scale manufacturing is possible. So these are the questions they try to answer before they start a clinical trials, before they start their research on a humans. So they try to test, like, if the large scale manufacturing is possible. Why so? Because tomorrow, if you see that, oh, this molecule is very promising, but how about the manufacturing of that molecule is not safe for environment, then what you will do? That is complete wastage of time, right? So, so that is the reason they test in before, like safety of environment, people involved in manufacturing patent also filed at this time. And the same time they also try to understand the financial consideration, because clinical trial needs lot of money. Now this is the time where they can see who is the sponsor. Like, if it is initiated by a pharmaceutical agency or company, then there is no trouble. But sometimes there are research going on which depends on the political commitment, especially if it is happening in the government setup. So then they uh, consider this as a big factor before they start the clinical trials. So who will be providing the budget? Now, another thing that is tested before they go to even to a preclinical or clinical is that the stability of a formulation. Like, is this molecule stable? It's not like they, once their drug is promising and they started clinical trial and then they came to know, oh, this is not stable at all. They're stable in terms of light, moisture, temperature, right? And what formulation they can bring into, like maybe a small tablets or a capsule, and which route they can administrate it, oral, IV, IM, which route they can take on. If till now, so this all happens in the lab only, laboratory only. If till now the molecule looking promising, so now what they need is that they wanted to test in the first biological system. So what this first biological system can be animal studies, right? So they basically understand what is the pharmacokinetics, what is the pharmacodynamics, which is nothing, which what just says is that how body react to a drug, right? How body respond to a drug, and how drug can is metabolized within a system, your absorption, metabolism, elimination. So that, and followed by excretion, how drug is getting metabolized in a body and how body is responding to your drug. So these are your PK and PD. And they also try to understand what are the side effects. How about if everything is fine but side effects are too high, then which means it's not a promising, right? And the toxicities, is that molecule causing any toxicity? And if they are having some issues here in terms of absorption also, in terms of body's reaction also, in terms of toxicity also, they have an opportunity to correct here. How they can correct, that is the key question. They can correct by adjusting the dose. They may correct by adjusting the route. You know, so these are the few questions these are answered in the animal study. If everything is okay till now, then they can file their application, which is known as investigational new drug. Why it is known as investigational? Because you are studying it, you are investigating it to regulatory body, government agency. Maybe if it is happening in the US, that may be FDA. If it isn't happening in Europe, that may be, then it may be an EMA. If it is happening in India, then it is DCGI. So they submit their application saying that, look, this is what the data we have. Now, please give us a permission to test this molecule in human, right? After so much of work, they start with the human trials. I just gave it in a summary only because our objective is to clarify your doubts, not to go into too much of details, not to confuse you guys. So if government said, okay, it looks promising, you can start with clinical trials. So they can start with the phase 1. If phase 1 is successful, then they can go to phase 2. But if it is not successful, you are back here. Then you maybe need to readjust if possible, or you may have to stop also, right? If it is not successful. Phase 1 is done mostly in the voluntary, healthy voluntary. Why? Because this is first in human trial. Phase 1 is first in human trial, so they take only healthy people. So the reason is a healthy person can handle it better than a person who is already sick, because a healthy person has a better immunity. If there is a side effect, if there is a toxicity, a healthy person can handle it up much better, right? So basically in a phase 1, what they try to see is, they just try to say, is it safe, right? Because in clinical trials we answer two questions. One, is it safe? That is the first question. Second question is it working? Is the treatment is effective? Is it working? So the phase 1, they focus morely on is it safe? If it is safe, they can go to phase 2. In phase 2, they take number of people are more, and they take the participant who have a disease with the indication basically. And if phase 2 is the one where they also decide the dose, like, okay, which dose and route they have to see. If phase 2 is successful, then they finally can come into a phase 3. And this phase 3, where the population is much higher. Now we have answered our two questions. This is safe also, this is working also. Now we will say is effectiveness. What is the difference between difference between efficacy and effectiveness? Effectiveness is that when it is looked into a larger population. So in the phase 3, the population is much wider. So if phase 3 is successful, then you again go to a regulatory bodies, like we gone before, our phase 1 also. Here it is known as investigational new drug. Then here, because we have completed our investigation, the name will change. It will now be a new drug application, right? So the new drug application will be filed, and if the government, if the regulatory experts say that everything is fine, everything is okay, they will give a approval. Now approval means your drug will be in the market. Anyone will be having access to drug, right? And if you have a prescription, you can buy that. So that is after phase 3. But after phase 3 also, there will be a phase of your post marketing surveillance, but then we can take talk later. So till here, if you have any question, please feel free to ask. I hope it is very simple and straightforward, right? Okay, so now I take silence as a no. Now, what is medical writing? Right. So if I'll take you back here, right, and even back here, we say that we submit this application to government, and then we start with phase 1, 2, 3, right? In which means lot of documentation, which means that a lot of documents are submitted to regulatory bodies. Now, who prepare these most of the documents, right? Like before the trial start, you submit the protocol which talks about design. You will also draft informed consent form. You will also draft your investigator brochure. You will also, maybe draft few policy document manuals, right, before trial start. But once the trial is completed, you will also be submitting the clinical study report, right? So now who draft these documents? So these are drafted by a medical writer. So which brings us to our next topic, medical writing as a career. So now we know the complexity and scrutiny of the clinical trials is that a medical writing is about conveying medical information to healthcare community, a regulatory body, and common public. So you will be writing about the medical information. The document will be meant by healthcare community, regulatory bodies, and common public. So now imagine if the trial is done with full good intention, lot of effort has invested in that, and what the final report is not done with carefully done carefully, then the whole effort in conducting the trial is will be going to a waste. So that is the importance of a medical writing. So medical writer should be writing a clear, which is easily understandable and concise. It should not be like a literature, like where you are putting your thought. It should be evidence based and concise and credible. Like if you're writing 90%, from where that 90% has came, right? And it should be complete. The sentence should not be incomplete. So these are the four C's of the medical writing. Now, the demand of clinical medical writing is always high. The reason is we having unfortunately new healthcare challenges, right? New and new healthcare challenges are coming in, and even the existing some of the existing treatments they need some improvement. And another thing is that our regulatory bodies, they are also passing new guidelines to control the clinical research. More guidelines means more documentation. More documentation, more medical writers are needed. So this is one report I have cited. I found it over a Google, and so this is the growth projection. This is CAGR report, which says that medical writing is expected to grow by 9%. But I will say invest some effort and search by yourself on a internet. Now, what medical writer do? That is a prime question. So, medical writers write for a target audience to communicate scientific and medical information. And now, sometimes people thought that medical writer will be writing from a scratch, like your literature. No, that is not the case. In a medical writing, you always will be having a templates, predefined templates. Like you go to a bank, you wanted to open an account, they give you a form, and in that form, you just have to fill the information. Similarly, our medical writer also work with the templates, so that information can be unified. Their target audience can be regulatory body like DCGI, FDA. So now imagine for whom you will be writing the document and how careful you should be. Because if you are not creating a document correctly, they will reject your application. Rejection means more cost, more time, more effort, which is equal to money for a sponsor. Ethics committee, internal stakeholder, your team, doctors, patients, and for a common health. So, common public. And medical writing, you either create evidence or present evidence. Create is like you refer to a literature, or you report the data that you have gathered during a clinical trial. So it is basically an evidence based writing, which means you are not putting your thoughts. Do you have a source? Then whatever the source you have, that you are going to report that. Now comes to, sometime you go to Naukri portals and you wanted to find, like, oh, which role I should be applying, what are the roles in a medical writing writing function, so of course the writer, it's very straightforward, as we have learned, that is a primary role to develop accurate and clear document. But like, there are other roles also in a medical writer. One is reviewer. So reviewer is that one who review the document for its scientific accuracy, logical flow, and of the document. So once you have a good experience in the writing, you become a reviewer also after 2 to 3 years. Now there is another role which is known as a QC specialist. It's a quality control. So this beauty of this role is that you are not directly writing these documents. So what this is also a role as an at a very initial level, maybe for a fresher, or maybe person with having 1 or 2 years of experience. So where you just cross check the data. So the document is written by someone else, you just perform the QC. Like, okay, if point 7 is written, from where they have written, or is it the same information within throughout the document? Is the document grammatically and phonetically correct? So that is the duty of a QC specialist. But you will see these roles are available in many contract research organizations. Team lead, once you have good experience, you can handle a team of medical writers and will be responsible for timely delivery of the projects. And then you can grow to next role is a manager, then so on, like maybe a director, maybe a head of department. So this is a career ladder in a medical writing. Sorry. But these are the roles you can start with, as a writer, as a QC specialist. Sometimes they hire you as a writer also, but they give you initially for 6 months maybe a role of a QC, so that you get hands on the medical writing document. Now question comes to who can be a clinical researcher or a medical writer. So anyone who have a background of medical sciences, or you can say biological sciences. If you have done MSc in life sciences, or not life sciences, or a biology, you can say, or you have a bachelor masters in pharmacy, maybe a nursing, or maybe you have done graduation in a medicine, or maybe bachelor in dental surgery or physiotherapy, or maybe a PhD in life sciences. So I have seen people from all the backgrounds in my career. In fact, one of my colleague was BTech from biotechnology. So basically, if you have a background of healthcare, biological science or healthcare, it can be a good career for you. Who will be the primary employer for these medical writers? Pharmaceutical industries, contract research organizations, CROs, medical device manufacturers, biotech firms, medical communication companies, medical education companies, and you can work as freelancer also. But initially, as a freelancer is not that possible. I won't say sorry possible, it is possible always. It's not that easy to be as a freelancer as at an initial stage. The reason is, once you have gained some experience, then it will be very easier for you. I suggest gain some experience, then you can think around to be a freelancer. And these contract research organization or medical communication companies, they are very good to start with, because pharma sometimes they try to hire people who already have worked in contract research organizations. So these are your options, right? But not limited to these, because these days times are evolving. even some small these healthcare public health institutes like our ICMR, right? They are also hiring medical. So opportunities are a lot. Even some hospitals, sorry, hospitals like who are in a clinical trial, they also hire medical writers. So which brings to to me almost my last slide, to that this is my book. I really wanted to quickly talk around my book. Is that maybe Amit will be able to help you to give you the link. Is that this is what I have written this year and I published this year, because I always been approached over LinkedIn by students like, okay, from where we can read more about clinical research, right, or a medical writing. So I came up with this book, which is very simple in terms that I kept in mind that when you read this book, you won't feel like you are reading a book. You feel like you are more reading a story. So it is simple to that extent. So it has two part. The part one is is a clinical research, as I introduced to you today in the initial slide, is like what clinical research is, that or what is the process of clinical research, and then how you can build your understanding about that field. And second part is because I have worked a lot in a medical writing, so they have there you is talking about is about a medical writing, different medical writing documents like your protocol, like your IVs, clinical study report, your patient safety narrative, and I have given examples so you can relate to it. There are so much information is available out there, but it is not comprehensive for a student. So this is what you can find in a book. It is here available over Amazon. So that is one thing. To conclude, I just wanted to say that drug discovery is time consuming and expensive. A success rate is very less, 0.01%, right? And anyone who is having fair understanding of science and medical terminology can make it a good career. And you should be having a knowledge of regulatory guidelines. So this is what is a success rate is like, maybe starting with 10,000 of molecule, and less than 250 enter in a clinical preclinical testing, and then less than that in a clinical testing, and finally one or two get approved by regulatory. So just imagine how much effort has gone into, right? So that is the reason the pharmas and CROs, they are more interested to hire people who are skillful, so then their time and money can be saved. So with this, um, there is no further slides from my side. We can take questions.
Hello.
Hello.
Yes, ma'am. There is one question. Is that we just see that medical writing job profiles for medical writing, like executive to head of department. But in case of clinical research, what is the job profile or exact job roles is there?
So it is almost same. If you are saying clinical research, I'm assuming that operations, right? So you either can start with CRA or CRC. CRC is little easier to start. Then you start with CRA. Sometimes there are numbers like CRA 1, 2, and 3 also. Then you can assistant project manager in some organization. You can be directly project manager. Then after project manager, you can be a senior project manager or like a head of department or maybe a associate director or director. So like that. Hope I answered your question.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you.
Welcome. I hope you guys find these slides interesting and these are helpful to you. I will encourage you to ask the questions, so that you can clear out your doubts and you can make most of your time.
Hello everyone, kindly ask the questions if you have any questions in your mind. There is a question from YouTube Live. They ask that how to get a job in the medical writing as a fresher.
Right. How to get a job in a medical writing as a fresher is, it has two parts. One part is, prepare yourself, understand what clinical research is and what are the new guidelines in it which are followed. At least understand those guidelines. And second part of your journey is start applying. And sometimes as a fresher, we make one mistake is that we screen out too much. We put so many filters is that we say that, okay, no, I need to be a medical writer only. Right? I suggest as a fresher, don't put those filter. If you're getting an opportunity as CRC, take it. If you're getting an opportunity as an intern, take it. Gain your experience. And even if you're going for your first job, right, interview, don't say that you don't have any experience. At least list down your every smallest experience, because the person who is interviewing you, they just want to evaluate your attitude. They just wanted to understand your attitude, uh, of how actively proactively you are interested in working, right? Maybe you have done some assignment in your college, maybe you have a written thesis, maybe you have assisted your professor writing a paper, maybe you have drafted one paper for your college magazine, right? So we all have some achievement in your past. Maybe you have good academic marks. At least highlight those experience, and at least don't say that I don't have any experience, and say it like I have a good untheoretical knowledge, but I am of course ready to apply it when I am getting the actual job. Be little smart. Whatever you have, you know, you have a you have a degree in your hand, so link to that. Answer those questions smartly, and try to get into whichever opportunity you are getting. So be very active on LinkedIn, be active on your job portals, right? And face as many as interviews you can. Initial first job can take you some time, so be patient for your first job. I hope I answered your question. Helpful.
Yes, yes. One more question: what is exact role of ETMF specialist?
Sorry, what is the exact role of?
ETMF specialist.
I hope it is TMF specialist, right? ETMF specialist.
Yeah, yeah.
So, what happened is with the technology and tools is that there is one file that is master file, is a trial master file. So that has all the documents. Every smallest document is filed in that. So now that is being upgraded to electronic. Now that file is maintained electronically. But that file is so huge that organization need a person to maintain that file, right? So they hire ETMM specialist just to maintain that file. Okay, this source document will go here, this, but that is very good experience to have it, right? So if some document is not filed, that person has to connect with concerned department. Maybe they have to connect with sponsor or investigator or coordinator to get that document. Any other question?
Yeah, there are multiple questions in the chat box. I just read it.
Okay.
Is there any need to complete medical writing course to enter the medical writing department?
So I will say that there is not as a requirement to complete a medical writing course. There is no as such requirement. But if you want to gain a knowledge, either you can, do by that self study, or that's totally up to you. If you wanted to do some course, that is your choice basically. But if you feel like that you can do at your own, that is also your choice. Patent analysis. Yes, yes.
I hope Rutuj, the query was solved. And
Yeah.
the next, that is patent analyst was mentioned in the slide. Please provide a brief about it. Patent analysis.
Patent is filed basically when the scientists, they see like, okay, these are our promising molecules, right? They file the patent. They file the patent application. Then the rights are with that organization, right? So when that is in the market, no one else can copy that thing. That is totally that organization's right. So that is a patent application that is filed at the very beginning of your drug discovery stage. Anything else?
Hello, this is Ria. Actually,
Hi,
I'm
Priya.
Hi, Ria, ma'am. Actually, this side, I'm the HR of this company. So there is one more question. Can you tell it is good to change career from CRC to medical writer? And is the experience of CRCs count in medical writing?
Yes, because I don't know, I face this question in almost all the webinars. Why CRC undervalue with themselves? That is the one thing in India we really need to change. In a foreign, if you talk to CRC, they take very pride in that. And I will tell you now, CRC is the only role where you are living the process. In no other role you can live the clinical trial process. So CRC is the process where you are working hand in hand with investigators. You are living the process of a clinical trial. And now, the second part of the question, will that experience will be considered in a medical writing? Why not? It should be, because you already worked in a clinical research. And when someone asks you that question, answer in a way that I have lived the process of a clinical trial, right? I know how each step move in a clinical trial, and also highlight your writing experience also. Like, okay, maybe I have drafted this report, I have done this. Alongside that, I have worked on this, document for my investigator. Highlight those writing experiences. And CRC at the beginning is very good, very, very good experience to have, because no other job role will expose you all the departments. This is the only, the CRC role is the only one that will expose to other departments. And I'll tell you my story. When I was with WHO, they were having only two roles. Although that was not a complete CRC, it was like one coordinator, non-physician. And if we are a physician, we are physician coordinator. So we are actually involved in the conduct of the clinical trial. So when I transitioned from operation to medical writing, I have not started a medical writer as a fresher. I joined as senior medical writer after 5 years, which is equivalent to, like, if I have worked in a medical writing, if I was having 5 years of experience, then only I have joined as senior medical writer. So my experience was considered. Even I have so many friends. There are a few people from pharmacovigilance, they transition to medical writing. Few even from your, these regulatory affairs. But to an extent, it also depends on you to highlight your writing experience. So if you are directly going to say that I don't have a medical writing experience, people are there to take your advantage in simple words. You have to showcase that no, my this experience is very much relevant, and which is in a true sense is very much relevant. I hope this is helpful.
Yes, yes, yes. Now, one more thing, this is my personal question. So, how to get job in WHO regarding this?
So how to get a job?
Yeah.
Sorry, how to get a job next? I last
In
sentence.
WHO.
Okay, WHO. Um, they, because they are a public, in a public health, so one thing that you have to follow their career pace. The second is that sometimes they are little more demanding because they have lot many options. So it is just you keep and trying. That's the only thing I'll say, that you keep and trying and you will get it. I got lucky because I was doing my, I have done masters in research, so they were looking for a microbiologist and I got at right time, right? So but it is not completely impossible, but it needs some time, they, because their way of working is a little different and their jobs are contractual also. So you have to keep on trying. That's the only thing I can say.
Okay, okay. Like nowadays, we have actually facing this problem. We are actually facing this problem. There is one film regarding medical scribe. So can you please like explain something about what is medical scribe, how to get job in that field, particular field?
So you are saying that you are facing a problem, I mean.
Yes, yes. Actually, we organized a interview for the students. They just got some kind of questions, which are aptitude questions, general and vocal thing was there. So
Hmm.
they suffered a lot, and like while they are performing the test. So I just want to know like how to prepare themselves for this.
So if you, I'll say that mostly for a medical writing, you have a test, you have to face a test, right? That maybe have a two part. One is your English testing skills, maybe analytic type, and second is your writing skill. So for first part, it is, but what I have understood is that is also one, there is one dedicated chapter in my book also for that, is more like what we have gone through in our schools, that is comprehensive, completing the sentences. I will say test, practice for some time, without practice it is not going to happen, right? So practice for a while, and maybe you can ask some mentor, to train people, to give them few mock tests so that they can practice. So like your Cambridge IELTS test, practice on that. There are so much of material available on a, you know on the internet. So practice is the only answer, otherwise you will struggle. And all the organization have this first or a second round as an a written test. Even pharmacovigilance, if they are if they wanted to hire for a pharmacovigilance, they have to go through a test.
Okay, okay. Okay. So I guess like yeah, my doubts are clear. So there's one more question from the chat box. So it's how to get strong our CV for get job in medical writing.
Okay, how to get your CV strong?
Yeah.
First, when you are creating your CV, I always advise students one thing is that, give it some time. And not only for CV, in a general also, take a paper or pen, or maybe, open a Word document, list down your individual strengths and weaknesses. Why I'll say that you are all the achievements, all the strengths, even smallest achievement, you write that reason, or even ask your friends what they find, like what is good in you, highlight that. you know even if you
Am I audible?
Yes, yes, you are audible. I was actually about to ask you this. That I guess she's there, but her voice is not audible.
Sarab ma'am, are you there? My question to Ria ma'am. Ria, this is the question to you.
Yeah.
Tell me about your company in future. I will apply for you.
Sorry, sir.
Check in chat box.
Okay, ma'am. Question, please, can you tell me your company name in future? I will apply for job. Okay, you can apply on Global Pharma Academy only. Okay.
You can write it here. Can you please short introduction to your company?
Yeah, sure. Why not? See, basically, what the thing is, like, I don't know how to properly answer this question. But yes, once you get perfect knowledge, and if you are in, see, I'm from this HR background, okay, and if you are interested, if you are like confident about yourself and positive, you can definitely apply for any companies, any corporate sector, pharmaceutical sectors, and like you can just explore yourself more here. So yes, and about my company, so like I got lucky with like joining this organization. So yes, like we provide certification courses, we provide like skill development programs, mini projects, and everything. So you can, I guess this question can clear by Amit sir more from my end.
Yeah.
Hi everyone. Sorry, there was an internet issue.
Move to the Sarab ma'am question.
Yeah, I'll repeat where we were. So we were on a question like, how to make your CV or resume more powerful. So I was talking around, to list down your all the achievements, everything, so that you can highlight that very well in your resume. If you are not prepared for that, then you won't be able to answer that question during your interview. So list down all your achievement at one place. If tomorrow you have a interview, uh, just go through that document and you are prepared. So any other question?
Yes, like what extra quality we have to develop to get high salary in medical writing?
The answer is very straightforward. Your skills, your writing skills, your skills is equivalent to your salary.
Right. Like I am seeing lots of questions are there in chat box. So one more is there. So, ma'am, anywhere the job profile is high or hard work, but as compared salary, it is too short. So what extra quality we have to develop to get high salary?
So as I said, see, one is of course is the experience, So second, whatever the job role or initial opportunity you are getting, take it, get that experience, and take out some during the job, take out some time to work on your skills. Upgrade your skill. Maybe if you say that your English is not so good, work on that. If you are saying looking into like your regulation uh, knowledge is not that great, upgrade that knowledge, and keep on writing. The more you will write, the more experience you will get, and the better, for a better job role you can crack an interview. Suppose example, I'll tell you, you have joined some small organization at 15,000 example, that is very small example I'm giving you, and but you see that no, I want more. So if you are able to crack an interview with some big CRO or from big sponsor, definitely your salary will increase by manyfold. But the big companies, they are always, you know, testing you on your knowledge base, on your, communication, on how confident you are, how prepared you are, how smart you are. So even if initially you are getting, small salary or a very basic opportunity, I'll say build on that. Don't stop there. So any other question? Someone written here is that what is my company? My company is GSK, but you have many companies where you can apply. There is no limit.
Yeah. There was one more question for medical writing. Mostly companies prefer Pharma and BDS student. Ma'am, will you please explain this?
No, that is not the case. Even at GSK, where we are, mostly people are MSc. I'm also MSc. So that is not the case. I won't say M Pharma or BDS. It's totally depend, if you are able to crack that interview, or you able to showcase that you are capable, you are a potential candidate, you will get that. Many of my friends are MSc. So that is not the case. Career after MBA, I don't know. I have not done MBA, but
Okay.
maybe
MBA is like it administrative. Most of the works you have, the business development works you have. So you can join as an product management or in marketing executive or as a trainee to the company who train about the sales and everything how to generate a product, how to actually launch the product. Market research is there. So these are the opportunities after MBA. I hope
or
I can figure it out. Yeah.
yeah, or maybe one thing in a CRO, you can work as a
Yeah, there is also
business
business
development,
development.
business development or marketing person. This is one
Yes.
thing came in my mind.
Yes, to approach various CRO sponsors for the sites jobs to get the project on.
Okay. There's one question from my side. So I just want to know what are the qualities that given extra is to any good medical writer.
So
Like
what are the extra qualities that you are saying? Is it?
Yes.
I won't say extra. I will say the good qualities of medical writer. Good qualities of medical writer. When you are sitting for an interview, even you primarily will be judged on like how you are in your communication, how good hold you have on your regulation or your GCP knowledge, and if you have any past experience in writing. Are you really passionate about writing? If you have any past experience in a writing, that is surely going to help you. And even I'll say you as a student, publish few paper, maybe in a small journal, maybe publish small article, maybe in your college journal or a university journal. You can publish. You can start with these small things. When you are going for an interview, you can say that, look, I already have published this article, right? So which means that will make a person to understand, and they will be more intrigued in you, that okay, this person has already done some writing, right? If you are interested in writing.
Okay. So
After B Pharma, which is the best job, or M Pharma? So for most of organization, they ask for a graduation. So if you have a B Pharma and if you are capable, so you can start your job after B Pharma only, no problem. There is no as such a question which job is the best. Wherever you find, I can't tell you that which job is best for you. that is the analysis that you have to do. You have to figure it out by hit and trial.
Ma'am, now I am in B Farm graduation, so I
Mhm.
have time. I have many time to cover some advanced courses. Can you say? Can you tell me some advanced courses to complete to
So
develop my CV?
so that is, you can, that again I will say, I won't suggest people that you do this or that, because that is totally your decision. I will say, make a list of all the course options that those are available to you, and also how much it is possible to spare some amount for your learning. It is absolutely okay to spend something on your learning, because sometimes people say that, oh, this is coming at this cost. I'll say that compromise on your clothes, compromise on your entertainment, better invest that money on some learning. But make a list and just identify like which suits your need and your cost, right? What that, and it is absolutely a correct thinking. Like, now you are in fourth year of your B Pharma, or you have just started. This is the best time to prepare yourself sidewise, because you can utilize your time in a best possible way. So but there you have to decide like which course. But I will say that don't go for very expensive one. I'll also say that, don't go which is very very expensive. Go for an economical course, right? I hope this is helpful.
Yes, ma'am.
There's one more question, ma'am. Would we put some extra skill to add on to our CV to be hired as a medical writer?
So I think we have answered this question couple of
Yeah.
times,
Yeah.
right? We
Right.
had discussed many times.
Right. Right. Yeah.
I will
So,
say one thing is that, to test yourself, to all the students, face few interviews. Face few interview, then you will be able to understand like where you stand. And once you know that where you stand, then don't see it as a setback. Oh, I've been rejected interview. No, no. Then learn from it and prepare yourself. And if possible, do the small internship. And sometimes people wait for like, okay, once I will complete my B Farm or graduation, then only I'll start working. And in today's internet day and time, you have many opportunities that will give you a boost in confidence. So whatever you are getting, uh, on any opportunity that you are getting, online, offline, get that. One day I was seeing very interesting job. That job was like, be a coordinator in some conference. That job was just for 15 days. I was just wondered with that opportunity, like if some student have opted for that, how much experience that person would have gained, and it just in for a 15 days. So there are a lot of opportunities. Just be there, get there. Any other question?
as such, I don't have there are no more questions. So, if anyone have other questions, so they can, I guess, or
One of the question from YouTube Live, that we already know that medical writing can do as a freelancing, but is it possible when we are working in the other department, someone is from R&D department and can work as medical writing as a part time? I mean, is it freelancing?
I'm not sure, because you have to check a contract with your organization. It should not be another job, right? So then it will be a breach of your contract. But I'll tell you one more thing. In almost all the organization, they if you want to express this to your management or your manager, like I'm also interested in this department, they give you an opportunity also. if you already are in with some company and they have a medical writing department, I'll say talk to your management. But I am not sure about a freelancer, because just check that also, because it should not be a breach of a contract, right?
Thank you for the answer. Any other question? Yeah, so I think we have to also announce that the Syrup ma'am has her own books on the clinical research and medical writing. So can you please tell about in short information about that book, Syrup?
Okay, so for a book is that one is that it is written in a very simple language, so that student can understand it easily, and suppose they wanted to read it for their in their free time, they don't feel like, okay, I'm reading another book. So it has two part. One first is talking about clinical research, which is you need to know if you wanted to make a career in medical writing. And second part is totally dedicated to medical writing. All the documents like protocol, investigator brochure, safety narratives, clinical study report, so the only different thing is that in book is that you will also get the examples, like for a protocol when you are discussing that, okay, these are the essential elements of a protocol: introduction, background. So how does that look like also? So I have given examples also. Same safety narrative, like what will go in first para, what will go in second para, what will go in third para, like that. And also I have given one chapter on an interview preparation. So because I know students read a lot about their subject, but they forget to prepare themselves for an interview, which is equally important. So I have given an example like how test will look like if you're going for a medical writing. What will be the process, what will be asked you at first stage, what kind of the question can be asked, um, and how written test will look like so. And this book is available on Amazon, and you can buy it. And I will also say that if you wanted to buy in a bulk, I can talk to a publisher also, then it will be little cost effective to you. So that's all from my side.
Yes, I think I also have to share something that I also got the book from Sarat ma'am. So it is a really good and it is very simple language. Everything is explained in proper manner as per the fresher point of view. And I hope this will be more beneficial to all the freshers, all the students. So you can also buy that book as well. Okay, I share the link of the book in our chat box. Okay, in YouTube also, in the comment box I share, so you can purchase that book from there. Even if you have any query in the future, connect with the ma'am as in the LinkedIn. I will share the link as well. And so I hope the query from your end will be solved. Maximum query will be solved. And if you have further query, connect with us or in the ma'am as well. Okay, and most importantly, thank you everyone for the present in this session, and this might be much informative session as per your expectations. And from the YouTube to all the viewers, and from our the meeting viewers. So thank you for your presence, and very good, great thanks for Syrup ma'am for delivering this great lecture. And I hope everything from the slides and each and everything you come across, that will be understood, and that will be more beneficial for your future as well. So thank you, Syrup ma'am, once again for delivering this lecture, and thank you, Leah,
Thanks,
for
Amit.
yeah.
Thanks, everyone. All the very best for your career. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Without your efforts, like this session would be like not possible for us. And thank you so much, Amit sir, for like arranging this session. And I hope all the students get cleared about what is medical writing, what is the scopes, career opportunities, everything. or like ma'am answered all of the questions very well. So yes, thank you so much, ma'am, once again.
My pleasure. Thanks, everyone.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye bye. Take care.
Have a good day, everyone.
Have a good day.
Everyone can. Thank you. Yeah.